Here we go. All right, blessings. Welcome to our Torah Talk. Thursday night Torah Talks every single Thursday night, guys, at 7:30. We look forward to seeing you guys here. And so we want to get right into Parashat Pinchas or Phinehas in the English, or Phinehas in the Hebrew. And so there's so much in this Parashat, guys, that I do want to start off, however, I believe, is it chapter, I'm just going to start off with chapter 25 in Numbers. So we're reading Numbers chapter, you can see on the screen there. We're reading Numbers chapter 25 through 30, Jeremiah 1 and Jeremiah 2, 1 Kings 18 through 19, and then Romans 11. And so I just want to start this off with a question. I always want to start off with a question, and it is related to chapter 25 of Numbers. And also, it goes back to Romans, Romans 11. And so let me just start in Romans 11, and we're going to work our way back to Numbers. All right. And so if we look at Romans 11, and he starts to talk about this stumbling block in verse 11, have they stumbled that they should fall? God forbid, but rather through their fall, salvation has come unto the Gentiles to provoke them to jealousy. And so we're talking about these Gentiles that obviously the Israelites were living amongst, even in the Brit Chadashah. But it didn't start there. It goes all the way back to chapter 25 of Numbers. And so I want to put up a question here that hopefully you guys are able to look at. And really, you got to understand how Israel, in this particular portion of their journey into the promised land in Moab, in this particular portion, we really need to understand a specific God that the Israelites had trouble with, and that God was called Baal Peor. Can someone tell us what do you think the significance or the importance or even the meaning of Baal Peor? What was that God the God of?
Was it sexual perversion?
Come on, sister. Absolutely. Sexual perversion. Now, remember, sexual perversion. Can someone tell us anything that is related to when Israel served, or when other nations served a god of sexual perversion? What was their ultimate goal? It wasn't simply sex, but what was their ultimate goal for this god of sexuality?
Fertility?
Say it a little bit louder.
I'm not sure. Fertility?
Absolutely. Fertility, yes. It was for fertility, not just fertility amongst women, but also fertility amongst the crops. They believed that the fertility god would rain down water and sunlight for their crops. Remember, we're talking about a agrarian society who depended on sun and rain. As a matter of fact, over here at the Benz family garden, we definitely are watering and allowing our plants to get sunlight, and so we can see the growth in those. And so it's the same thing that these Moabites did with Baal Peor. Now, here's another important. Does anyone want to add to that significance, or anything other? They want to add something other or something else to Baal Peor. Sister Candy said it was a god of sexuality and perversion. Sister Ben said it was, for fertility. Anything else that you would like to add? Anyone?
But you said you want what do we want to add to the significance of Baal people?
Or anything that you would like to add here?
Baal comes up quite often, so it's a
Mm-hmm.
repeated offender, a repeated God that they keep going back to.
Okay. All right. Now let's go back to Numbers 25 because we want to connect Baal Peor with Phinehas. And so let's go to chapter 25. And I just want to mention this. So let me read just a little bit, guys. I want to read just a little bit. So Numbers chapter 25 and verse number 1 says this: "And Israel abode or lived or stayed in Shittim, and the people began to commit whoredom with the daughters of Moab." All right, so let's keep that in our minds that there were men who, and I would even dare to say women, Moabite or Israelite women, but there were Israelites who began to commit whoredom with the daughters of Moab. All right, and so not only does that mean worshiping their gods, but the way they worship their gods, like Sister Candice and Sister Ben said, was through sexual encounters. Sexual encounters. All right. And so verse 2, "And they called the people unto the sacrifices of their gods, and the people did eat, and they bowed down to their gods." In other words, remember our word bow down, guys? We've been learning about here. In the Hebrew, we're going to see something very interesting, which is going to help us for next Tuesday. The word is shaka. Shaka is the root word, which is the same exact word for proskuneo in the Greek. All right, and so this is what we're going to be doing on Tuesday. So I want you to remember this. They bowed down, proskuneo. Literally, they laid themselves prostrate as they were having sex with the women of Moab. All right, in their sacrifices. And so again, these sexual encounters were not only making sacrifices to their god Baal Peor, but also they were eating foods that were sacrificed to Baal Peor as well, including having sex. All right. And so verse 3, it says, "And Israel joined himself unto Baal Peor." They engaged with these women. And it says, "And the anger of the Lord was kindled against Israel." Verse 4, "And the Lord said to Moses, take all the heads of the people," listen, guys, "and hang them up before the Lord against the sun, that the fierce anger of the Lord may be turned away from Israel." In other words, Moses, I want you to take all of the leaders who are involving themselves, getting entangled, tied up with these women. I want you to take the leaders and I want you to kill them in front of everyone in order to stop my anger. Wow. Wow. Verse 5 says, "And Moses said unto the judges of Israel, I want you to kill everyone, his men that were having sex and eating and whoring with these women with the god of Baal Peor." Verse 6, "And behold, one of the children of Israel came and brought unto his brethren," wait a minute, "a Midianitish woman in the sight of Moses." So one of the women who was engaging in this sexual activity and worshiping the god of Baal Peor, one of the men, one of the leaders, a judge, brought one of the women in front of Moses, and it says, and in front of the whole congregation, as they were weeping over the men that they had killed. So this guy, I want to say this. Do you know people that just don't have a conscience? Where they could do their dirt right at the congregation. They come to the congregation to do their dirt. Can you imagine all of the other people in Israel running to that man saying, hey, are you okay? What are you doing? What's wrong? No, they didn't do that. Notice what happens in verse 7. Because what the text suggests, guys, from verses 6 through 15, when it says, and behold, one of the children of Israel came and brought unto his brethren a Midianite woman, basically what he was doing was he brought her to have sex with him. And while they were having sex, watch what verse 7 says. And when Phinehas, the son of Eleazar, the son of Aaron, the priest. Now remember, priest, what was the age of priest? Does anyone remember? How old did you have to be? What was the youngest age that you could be to be a priest?
21.
I think it was
Close.
25.
30.
25. 25. Now, do we have any biblical evidence for that? That's what we do here at Rehoboth.
I don't remember the verse, but I remember 25.
All right. Anyone else? Okay, that's awesome. Anyone else? You know the verse? Because we got to back up what we say, right? So let's help our sister out as a teammate, and let's back her up, and let's provide that scripture. All right, here it is, right here. Verse 24. Verse 24 and 25. This is that belongeth unto the Levites. From 25 years old upward, they shall go and wait on the service. Again, that word service is one of our worship words of the tabernacle of the congregation. And from the age of 50 years. All right, so 25 to 50, you could be a priest. All right, and after that, you didn't have to serve anymore. You did your 25 years and you're done. All right. And so we see here that Phinehas was at least 25. Now look at his commitment at a young age. Look at his commitment. When he saw one of the leaders having sex with one of the women, the Midianitish woman, he rose up from the congregation. See, that's what's needed in our congregation, guys. We need people to rise up and stand up for righteousness no matter where we find unrighteousness. We need boldness. We don't need people to make excuses. If you see unrighteousness, we need to stand up against it. All right, look at what Phinehas did. He rose up from the congregation and he took a javelin in his hand and he went after the man of Israel into the tent. Notice again, they were having sex. They were in the tent. And let me say this, you may think you're doing stuff in secret behind folk back, but guess what? Somebody knows your dirt. They always gonna find it out. He went into his tent and watch this, the man of Israel and the woman, he speared them through her belly and he killed both the man and the woman while they were in the tent having sex. Wow. What kind of commitment is that? Do we have that kind of commitment? Or no? That's just Bible stories, right? But I want you to see something else, though, and I'm going to turn it over to you guys. Drop down to verse 13.
Turn into what?
Verse 13. Right here on the screen here. Now, verse 11 tells us that, you know, Yah's mercy and his grace, Phinehas turned the wrath away. He turned the wrath away, Yah's wrath away when he killed those individuals. And he made a covenant of peace. But then watch what verse 13 says. And he shall have it, and his seed after him, this covenant of peace, even the covenant of everlasting priesthood, because he was zealous for his Yah and made an atonement. Look what they called it, an atonement, a blood sacrifice for the children of Israel. But look at this, guys. Now, after all of that chaos and all of that drama and murder, watch this. Well, I shouldn't say murder, but killing. Verse 14 says, now the name of the Israelite that was killed, they go into detail. This is very important. The name of the Israelite that was killed, that was slain, even that was slain with the Midianitish woman, his name was Zimri. Does anyone know what the word Zimri means? It's very important. Did anybody do a study on his name? What is Zimri? What does Zimri mean?
My music, my praise.
You see that? You remember what we were talking about on Tuesday? Now, the music, so watch this. Pinchas killed a man whose name was my music and my praise, but his music and praise was not for Yah. It was for Baal Peor. Are y'all with me? His music and his praise was for another God. Now watch this. Watch this. Go to verse 15. What was the name of the woman?
Cosby.
Cosby. Now watch this, guys. What is her name? Now remember, Cosby, she was the daughter of Zur. He was a head over the people and a chief house in Midian. What does Cosby mean?
A liar sliding away.
Say it a little bit louder.
A liar sliding away.
A liar. Watch this, guys. It is possible that this woman was already married, and because she committed this whoredom with an Israelite man, with the god, the sexual god of Baal Peor. Listen, guys, let me say this. Music, sex, and lies. This was what pulled the Israelites away. This particular Israelite, his name was my music or my praise unto this Baal Peor, pulled him away to a woman that lies. Oh my goodness. I want you to see the spiritual aspect of this. The music that this man indulged himself in was not from Abba Yah. I want to tell you guys, I want to ask you guys this question. Now, researchers have already proven this to be true, but I just want to ask you guys the question. Here's the question right here. I want y'all to be honest. Can music affect your mood or your mind or both?
Yes.
Yes.
So now watch this then. If that is the case, we know that David, now watch this. Not only can it affect your mind, but can it affect your behavior?
Yeah, I would say yeah.
Absolutely. The Bible says, as a man thinketh, so is he. Now watch this. Remember when David danced before the Lord? He had the music. He danced before the Lord. It affected his behavior. Remember when Saul, King Saul, was being aggravated by demons, what did King David do to soothe him?
Play music.
He played music. It affected his mood, his mind, and his behavior. Now, since we know this, what kind of music do you listen to? Do you listen to music that gives praise to the devil? Or do you listen to me? There is music that gives praise to the devil. I showed you guys 2 weeks ago Beyonce's song when it says she swallowed a sword, and then she used parts of the scriptures, the pages, as her menses.
To plug her menses.
To plug her menses, sorry. Thank you. Now, do you think that music is honor and respecting Yah, or honoring and respecting the enemy?
Enemy.
Now let me ask you this then. What music are we listening to that praises the enemy? Let me read some things to you real quick. I'm going to read some things to you. Because we just allow it. We don't say nothing about it. We allow it. We're not teaching on it. We just simply turn our heads like it doesn't exist. I want to show you guys some things right here real quick. Because this has got to stop. If we know the truth, why won't we stand up against wickedness? You guys like B.I.G.? I know he's dead, but people still listen to his music. You guys like B.I.G.? I'm gonna let you read this because
I changed the screen.
Yep. I'm gonna let you read this. Okay. That's the enemy. That's the enemy. One of my used to be my favorite songs before I got saved in '92. We know that, right? Okay. You guys know this brother right here. The enemy. Oh man. We love this dude, don't we? We love him, don't we? Now, some of you may say, oh, this is just art. This is, it's just music. But we already know it's not. We already know that music affects our minds, our behavior. Look in the seer. You guys know Joyner Lucas. Blah, right? All of this, all of that. Oh, here's one. Uh-huh. This is the music that our kids, that our children are playing. They know this more than they know the scriptures. These are their scriptures. Y'all think this is a game? Because if you really understood what was happening, there would be some boundaries. Here's another one. They're preaching.
So it's subliminal messaging too.
This is the preaching. Okay, you want to explain? Give an explanation of that, Sister Dennis?
Subliminal messages.
Yeah.
So subliminal messages, for example, is having, those energy drinks and chips and last minute candies right next to the cash register when you line up and you wait in line and you grab that, or it's a commercial or music or song that come on when you're in the store. That might entice you to make an additional purchase that you didn't even go in the store for, them Reese's peanut butter cups, right? Or you didn't even
exactly,
or not even even your phones with the technology today. You sitting around talking about something, and then when you go on your phone, then ads pop up. Like, wait a minute, we was just talking about this. Subliminal messaging in the music is like all these lyrics that you've already shown is about death, suicide, killing, dying young, and Lucifer was a music ministry. We know that ministry music. So what is it? Pied Piper, R. Kelly. They luring people in. It's it is subliminal messaging is making things look. Hi, Georgie the clown.
Right.
Would you like to play with my balloon? Come on in, guy. And now it's like murder, death, kill up in here. So that's subliminal messaging, I would say, if
absolutely
it was understandable by most.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone else want to add to that?
You want to change the lyrics, or you want to just leave that up?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
It's true though. You can't unsee things. Like once you see it, you saw it. It might be forgotten or thrown in the subconscious mind somewhere. You can't unhear some things. What do they say? Eyes are the windows to the soul. Your ears are also like all these entry points. Is like it's somewhat of a. It provides. So what am I trying to say? If I were to compare this to, say, food or nutrition as an analogy, we know that junk food is not good for us. It tastes good,
right?
It'll satisfy our hunger for a period of time, like any food would. But eventually, it's gonna mess up our teeth. It might make your bowels, some kind of way. When we know that eating good fruits and vegetables, organic fruits and vegetables, not GMOs, genetically modified things, like all these things that we put into our body that could be healthy. Ginger, you guys understand what I'm saying. So we know we can eat healthy stuff, and then there's that package that what is that? Oh, I can't think of the term. MSG.
Mm-hmm.
People talk about that MSG. It's that seasoning. Like you get a Walmart brand, anything with some MSG in it, it'd be the best tasting thing, but it's so bad for you because it's really salty, really. You know what I mean?
Oh, yes.
Monosodium glutamate. So all these things that taste so good and it's just like instant gratification is really terrible for you. So
absolutely.
just similarly to the lyrics, to the stuff you see on social media, this and that is all getting fed into your psyche, into your soul, into your mind. And so, yes, it does. It's gonna take effect on how you behave, how you respond, how you think about things. Your worldview is affected by all of that.
Absolutely.
All of that.
Let me show you one more thing. Now, again, I know many people call this guy beloved, but we got to understand there's some things. Listen, just listen.
One of the most terrifying dreams for me was a dream of me being on a basketball court. Stadium's full, I'm attacking the basket, and I can't get off the ground. I can't jump. I'm stuck. I'm cemented to the floor. I was conscious of the fact that I was dreaming. So now I'm trying to control my dream. You can jump through it. You can push through it. You can get to that basket. And no matter how hard I tried, my legs were too.
Sorry, it was the wrong one. Sorry, guys. This is the right one. Sorry about that. Listen to this.
I want to be better, I want to be the best. No days off, no time to rest. Come to Kansas City to fulfill your quest. Kansas City where you better your best. Kansas City where you better your best.
Mamba House.
Welcome to Music Academy. I'm Kobe Bryant.
And I'm Little Mamba.
And we are here to tell you all about the word Muse Cage.
Muse cage. What's a muse cage?
A muse cage is a room decorated with any and everything that inspires you. When you're in your muse cage, you are surrounded by musings that keep
Sounds innocent, right? Keep watching.
you focused and motivated.
Oh, that's amazing. Can a muse cage muse me to be a beast for my basketball game today?
Of course.
Can a muse cage muse me to be a beast like James Harden?
Sure can.
Can a muse cage muse me to be a beast like Russell Westbrook?
Absolutely.
Can a muse cage muse me?
A muse cage can be whatever it is you want it to be,
Oh.
if you build it the right way.
Oh,
That's very important if you build it the right way. Watch this.
I'm ready.
You don't need construction tools to build a muse cage.
Then what do I use to build my muse cage?
Your curiosity.
How? I don't get it.
Use your curiosity to search all over the world for musings that you can use to decorate your muse cage.
Oh.
The more musings you find, the more powerful your muse cage becomes.
Oh.
Every muse cage is powered by two forces.
Watch this. Watch this. Look at this.
Light musings
You're nice.
Oh, thank you.
You're
Oh, so
great.
nice of you.
and dark musings.
Now, dark musings, guys. You pay attention, please.
Worthless. You're a failure.
Make it stop.
Light musings make you feel good and happy.
Yeah.
Dark musings make you feel bad and angry.
Oh, I don't like dark musings.
Most people don't. But what they don't understand is that dark musings just may be our greatest source of
What, Kobe?
energy and power.
Oh.
If you're looking for your inner beast, it's most likely living inside of a dark muse.
Are y'all following Kobe?
Really? I don't know. I don't like feeling bad and angry, but I do need to find my inner beast. What should I do? Do, 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 do.
I'm gonna stop that right there because I think it's pretty clear that our beloved Kobe Bryant is going after children by telling them that it's okay to be curious, it's okay to explore the dark side of life, the darkness. How many of you guys knew about Kobe's dabbling in the occult?
No.
Mm-hmm.
What?
Darkness. What did can someone tell me just like any scripture that comes to mind about darkness?
It's in the beginning.
They love darkness because their deeds are evil. Come on, y'all. This is Kobe teaching our children with puppets. Now tell me this. Who's the target audience based on the imagery that you're seeing in Kobe's preaching?
Elementary and older.
Come on. Starting young, right? Introducing and preaching, pulling in children or people with weak minds because they're in awe of Kobe to accept his teaching and preaching on darkness. In other words, on another God. It's spiritual. You see that?
Mm-hmm.
What's interesting is it's seemingly innocent because of how it's portrayed with the puppet. And I mean, I've certainly heard people say, take that out on the court or on the field, like use that tension you feel. They have movies about it. What was that? The Water Boy? He would get mad about people talking about his mama or something, and he would go tackle somebody, and they use these I mean, it sounds innocent, right? I'm
Right.
sure you even said it before. Don't get mad because they trying to get in your head in the game. Go take that out on the game. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Now
But
look
I
at this.
mean, as if I didn't know any better, like I would fall into that, right? Anybody
It's
could
that
fall
subliminal. But
into
like you were saying, it's
it's
that
the
subliminal
messaging.
messaging. Now look at this. This is scripture. This then is the message, not Kobe's, which we have heard from him, Yah, and declared to you that Yah is light and in him is no darkness. So Kobe is already setting himself up against Yah himself. You see like Kobe? So that was just my little introduction into the Baal Peor, that this Israelite man had the boldness, the audacity to bring darkness into the camp by worshiping Baal Peor in front of the entire camp. Blessings. I'll open it up to everyone else to share your thoughts and ideas.
That was an intro. I thought we was in a lesson.
Oh, let me show you one more scripture then.
Oh my goodness.
Look at Ephesians 5. See, if you see you, some people are gonna say, well, I still like Kobe, I'm still rocking with him. Mamba mentality till I die, dog. Well, the scripture says, have no fellowship with the unfruitful works of darkness, but rather reprove or expose them, like I just did. For it is a shame even to speak of those things which are done of them in secret, in darkness. But Kobe's not ashamed. As a matter of fact, he's so into it that he's going after our children. Oh yes. It gets deeper. I got more. But I'm not tonight though. See, God, let me say this. See, people don't understand how you move based on what you know. And so, because you know certain things, people will question you because they don't have any understanding. They're ignorant about the things that they should know, but because you know them, they treat you in a certain way because of their ignorance. And how many times have you jumped on the bandwagon of someone who's ignorant of something, and you told that other person that sounded ignorant, you said, what are they doing? What are they thinking about? Why would they say something like that? Well, it could just simply be that you're just ignorant and don't know. And so the best thing to do is when you feel that way about someone, you should ask, hey, can you tell me why would you say that? What motivates you to say that? Booyah! How about that one? Blow. I just loaded my clip and spit the heat for y'all. There you go. All right. Anyone else? Want to jump in on this Parashat and share your ideas, your thoughts?
Blessing.
Blessings.
Yeah, I had some connections I want to make. It's interesting how Phinehas has said that in Numbers chapter 25, how Israel yoked himself to Baal of Peor, and we know what happened. And the Israelite man brought a Midianite woman into the camp in front of the congregation, and it says that Phinehas was he was jealous for Yah and his jealousy, and he atoned. He made things right. Now the word they're using there, and that same and
Keep going, brother. You're going in and out. Keep going.
oh, can you hear me?
Can you
So yeah,
repeat
Phinehas.
yourself?
Sorry. So I'm saying that I'm in Numbers chapter 25, and it's talking about how the Israelites yoked themselves to Baal of Peor, and then a certain Israelite brought a Midianite woman to his family in front of Moses and Aaron, and and Phinehas rose up, saw it, and took a spear and killed both of them. I mean, killed both of them. And it said, and he made atonement because he was jealous for his Yah, his God. He was jealous. And he said he was jealous with my jealousy. What's interesting is that word they're using for jealousy is kana, right? Kana. And he was jealous. That's the basic form of it. Kana, that's his basic Hebraic, and it's a verb, and it's an infinitive construct. It's an infinitive construct. Basically, is to be jealous, but it's in the piel, so it's in the piel stem. So the action of this verb, he was intensely jealous. It wasn't a basic form of jealousy. It was intense it really to the point where how y'all would be jealous, like at a type of way. Yeah.
You're breaking up, brother.
Hold on.
We can hear you now.
Phinehas. Okay. Hold on. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Can you hear me? Yeah, so Phinehas ended up, you know, with the jealousy of Yah. He says, and I was jealous he was jealous for Yah. What's interesting is that same word for they're using for jealous, kana, in its basic form, and it's in the pael intense form, really intense in this action. This same word that shows up twice in this chapter is the same word that shows up in 1 Kings chapter 18 when Elijah said, "I am," and he said, I'm jealous for," and he was jealous also because of what the people were doing. When he ran away from Jezebel, I think it's Numbers chapter 18. I mean 19. He ran away from he ran away from Jezebel. He brought it up twice. He says, "And I am jealous for the Lord of hosts."
Hey, brother,
Because
that was going to be one of my questions.
yeah.
Similarities between Phinehas and Elijah. Yeah.
So the same word they're using there is "I was jealous." So this jealousy here is also in the pael stem when it comes down to describing actions. It's an active in the active voice. So he was jealous, and it was intensely jealous. It's not, it's one of the, you can't get no higher in a particular verb action when it comes down in the Hebrew binyan. Is pael is the highest form. So he was intensely jealous too. And then you had also Phinehas feeling the same way. And then so what I noticed is that Phinehas made things right by, stepping up for when he saw wickedness in the camp and made atonement. And also later we see that Elijah was told to go back, and he went back to Israel. He went back to them, and he ended up, I think he had the situation with those who were worshiping Baal, and then Yah reserved. He said, I reserved 7,000 that would not kneel before. He kept back 7,000 who would not kneel before or kiss the face of Baal. That was interesting how he said kiss his face.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's one thought I want to bring up is the jealousy between both Phinehas and Elijah. I want to bring that point. I got some other points I'm gonna bring out. So now
Can I just make a point about kissing?
Okay.
When you said kissing the, what is it? The face, it said?
Yeah, kissing his face. He says that he said that wouldn't bow to will not bow to the Baal. He kept back 7,000 that will not bow to Baal or even kiss his face.
That reminds me of a passage right here in Psalm where it says, Psalm 2, serve the Lord with fear and rejoicing with trembling, kiss the Son, lest he be angry and you perish from the way. So I thought that was interesting. Instead of kissing Baal, kiss the Son.
Yeah.
Blessings. That was all. When you said that was all that was it.
Oh, blessings, brother.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I to my phone right there. And then also, if this is the same connection, if you go to Romans chapter 11, or was it Romans chapter 10?
In the Parashat tonight? The Romans that's in the Parashat or something else?
Into it.
This is 10. I put 10 up for you.
Yeah, 10. That I got, it's all connected. So then Romans 10, which says, Going down. Believe. What? Oh, okay. So it's interesting when it says, when you guys were talking about Romans chapter 10 about, he says, and I will make Romans 10 and 19, but I will make you jealous of those who are not a nation. With a foolish nation, I will make you angry. I think they're using the same word there. Kana, making them jealous. But he's also quoting from Deuteronomy. So if you go there, he says in Romans 10 and when Israel was doing all that, making y'all jealous, he's saying, I'm gonna make you guys jealous with a foolish nation. And so that he's getting that from Deuteronomy. You guys can just click on Romans chapter 10, verse 19, and click on cross-reference. It'll give you the verse. It will be Deuteronomy chapter, what was that, 32. And verse 30, Deuteronomy chapter 32 and 21 says, they have made me jealous with what is no God. They have provoked me to anger with their idols, so I will make them jealous with those who are no people. I will provoke them to anger with a foolish nation. This is actually a prophecy that came into fulfillment. And then then you continue down. And
I see that method.
Oh my God. And then I just boldly said, I have been found by those who did not seek me. I have shown myself to those who did not ask for me. You click on that one. He's using scripture to make his sermon points.
Oh,
Here
yes.
we go.
Which one?
That one right there is that's Isaiah 65, 1 and 2. He says, I was ready to be sought by those who did not ask for me. I was ready to be found by those who did not seek me. I said, here I am, to a nation that was not called by out my hands all the day, to a rebellious people who walk in a way that is not good, following their own devices. You know, it's all he's just making all these connections to the scriptures. He says, but then Isaiah, he says, all the day long I have held my hand out to a disobedient people. And there's another one in here where he says, I'll find it later, but I want to show you something else. Go to Corinthians chapter 10.
1 Corinthians
chapter 10. And I haven't made any. I need somebody to help me with this. It don't have to be today. I think we talked about this last time. Verse 8. And it says, we must not indulge in sexual immorality as some of them did, and 23,000 fell in a sin. Let's reference that. That takes you back to Numbers chapter 25, 1 through 9. And the number, if you go to verse 9, go to Numbers 25 and 9, it says, nevertheless, those who died by the plague were 24,000. But in Romans chapter, in 1 Corinthians chapter 10, it says 23,000 fell. I want to bring that to your attention. That's one thing. And another thing I want to bring out is, he says, we must not indulge in sexual immorality as they did. So there's a particular act and a deed and when we look at the list or the category of things that are sexually immoral, which we get from Leviticus chapter 18, and even some things you find out in Deuteronomy chapter 22, just off memory, because Deuteronomy chapter 22 deals with about a man who lays with a woman and rapes her. This is what you should do. So we have different, or it could have been Deuteronomy chapter 24. It's either or. I think it's 22. But so here, this right here is a particular act of sexual immorality. It says we must not indulge in fornication as some of them did. So the question is, what particular fornication did they do against and when it come down to the Torah, was it the fornication of whoredom was it particularly them being with someone in the act of worship to a god, to a false god, or is it because in here?
Well,
Go ahead.
I would say it's both. As far as numbers, with the guy Zimri and the woman Cosby, I would say it was both, because remember, they were worshiping Baal Peor. They indulged in eating and, serving and sacrificing to their god. And he also took that woman into his tent, and they were definitely sexually intercoursing. As far as numbers is concerned.
Gotcha. Got you. Now, right here in Numbers chapter 25, verse 1, it says, while Israel lived in Shittim, the people began to whore with the daughters of Moab. So then somebody can argue and say it's not permitted for Israel to go after someone who's outside of Israel to whore after them. Somebody can make that conclusion, or you can come to the conclusion and say, "Here I come, baby. That's you're not supposed to date. You're not supposed to be with somebody and whore after somebody who serves another god, which is defined sexual immorality." So I'm saying, how would you look at this of like whoring after the daughters of Moab or any nation? Is it the fact that they serve other gods, which is considered to be sexual immorality, or is it just the fact that I'm saying, like, because some people might say, "Oh, you're just not supposed to talk to nobody that's a non-Israelite. That's sexual immorality," and you can go there too. I'm not saying that's my conclusion. I'm saying people can interpret this as different ways. Blessing.
Yeah, that's a good question. Remember what the scriptures say about Solomon and why he wasn't supposed to have all these different wives in 1 Kings 11.
Yeah,
he loved many strange women. You remember why he wasn't supposed to do that? The scripture said because it would turn his heart through the sexual intercourse. It would turn his heart to their what? To their gods.
Yeah, their gods.
Yeah. And so that's, ultimately why we shouldn't be unequally yoked with unbelievers, because through those intimate sexual relationships, they will turn you toward what they believe.
Hey, check out Exodus chapter 34 right quick, verse 15 and 16.
All right, Exodus 34. You said 15 and 16, huh? Okay. Lest thou make a covenant with the inhabitants of the land, and they go a whoring after their gods, and do sacrifices unto their gods, and one call thee, and thou eat of his sacrifice. Verse 16, and thou take of their daughters unto thy sons, and thy daughters go a whoring after their gods, and make thy sons go a whoring after their gods. Thou shalt make thee no molten gods. Oh, yes. Oh, yeah, that's it. That's it. That's it. Don't be unequally yoked with unbelievers, because ultimately they're going to get you through sexual immorality to serve whatever they're serving. You're going to water down what you believe. And you have to make compromises. In a marriage, man, even when you're equally yoked, you're going to make compromises. And so if you're married to an unbeliever or someone who believes in another God, you are going to definitely make compromises somewhere. And ultimately, you'll be drawn over to not serving Yah at all. Blessings. Anyone else? Anyone else? Awesome comments, brother. Anyone else?
Yeah, I have a question.
Yep.
So in Numbers 25:10 through 16, it talks about Phinehas' zeal. So Phinehas was the son of Eleazar, who was the son of Aaron. So they are Levites.
Yes.
So why did turn back? So if they were already Levites, why did God give him a covenant of perpetual priesthood, Phinehas, after he was zealous for him? So perpetual means beyond the temporal sphere. Perpetual, and the peace means tranquility, health, prosperity, and form of blessing. So if he was already an Israelite, why did he, have that stand out about giving him the blessing and perpetual peace of the priesthood forever?
That's an awesome question. What verse? That's in 25, right?
Yeah, Numbers 25, verse 10 through 16.
Oh, yeah.
I couldn't understand that. Well, he's already a priest, so why would he? The only thing I could think of, I think his mother was a prostitute.
So this is funny. I'm over here looking at all this right now, Jackie. You my dog, girl. I like you.
Oh, I love you too. I love you, Deneen. Not like.
So it's interesting. I'm kind of looking at the same situation, and a couple of my resources have some different things going on. One of them, so one of the themes is that this is Phinehas was a type of a Messiah, like a foreshadow of what is to come. When it comes, like he mentioned atonement earlier, how he was jealous with Yah's zeal, and he killed him for the atonement of the people, and that's how the plague stopped. And that's supposed to be like a foreshadow of Yeshua, who's gonna, he's our first fruit, and he, his body will be broken for us too. It's so many things going on with this, right? But one of the things that I was reading, where did it go? I mean, so I got so many books open right here. Don't make no sense. One of the things they were saying was, here, let me find it. My covenant of peace, my covenant of a priesthood that is eternal. This is commentary, I believe. It demonstrates the gratitude and goodwill towards Phinehas. It was seen as greeting one sends to a person to whom is indebted. This is by Rashi with Gur Aryeh. I'm not sure who that is, but this is one of the resources I'm reading from. And it says, alternatively, this covenant of peace was a pledge that Phinehas would be protected from the ire of Zimri's kinsmen and supporters. So that was one thing that came up, like, oh, maybe he's promising this peace because of retaliation, right? But I'm like, no, y'all got them. Like, I don't know if I agree with that completely. But there was another section in this other book. Hold on. Everlasting priesthood. No, that's not it. Sorry. One of them was pretty much saying that, Aaron had already received the promise, like you said, from the Lord of the priesthood, right? And Phinehas was already born at that time. But he didn't automatically receive this honor. And one of the things they pointed out was, and I'm not sure how true this is because I was just trying to look it up now, was because it says he didn't automatically receive this honor, especially since his father Eleazar, the son of Aaron, was married to a Gentile bride. And then it brought up Exodus 6:25. So I was just looking at that genealogy to see. It says Eleazar took a wife from the daughters of Putiel, but I can't find lineage for Putiel anywhere. So I don't know if he was a Gentile, Israelite. Okay, I gotta go. Okay. Bye, Bernice. Thank you for listening.
Bye, Mother Jones.
Oh, she out.
Okay.
So yeah, it's very interesting because I was just looking up Putiel, which is the maternal grandfather for Phinehas, because it doesn't mention the mother's name. It just mentions that Eleazar took a wife from the son from from the daughters of Putiel. So I don't know if it was because she was a Gentile, and he made it a point to say, you know what, just because you a half breed don't mean you don't got my zeal. You just went and did this. Like, I'm still trying to piece that part together.
Oh
But I
yeah,
was
because the
saying
priests they only could marry women virgins of Israel.
Levites too, right? They're supposed to stay within their own, right?
Yeah. But
Right.
still, Sister Candy's question is good, especially also when you think about Hebrews chapter 8 through 10. So that may be something to read, Sister Candy's Hebrews chapter 8 through 10, to see, how special this, gift to Phinehas was.
There was something else that came up in this Hebrews for Christian book, and it says something about a broken valve. I don't know. I'm just kind of reading a little bit about it, but it's pretty much saying that there's some symbolism because this shalom, which is that everlasting covenant of peace in that verse, it says in the Torah scroll that vav is broken in half, and the lettering is supposed to be, neat and well formed and legible, so that you can read it well. But they're speculating that this broken vav, which the vav is supposed to represent a body, and another reason why it would be a foreshadow of Christ coming, like his body was broken for us, type of thing. So there's all these things that are coming up as I was looking for it. So that's a good question, Jackie.
Awesome question. But, we do know that there were rules for the priests, and I think one of them is here. I think it's 2028, I think.
I see you wrote on the screen similarities and differences between Phinehas and Elisha.
Oh yeah, because Mark was bringing up those. That was one of the points I was going to make, and Mark brought it up, so I just put it up there. Yep. So in Nehemiah 10 and 20, it says, "And the rest of the people, the priests, the Levites, the porters, the singers, the Nethinims, and all they that have separated themselves from the people of the lands unto the law of God, their wives, their sons, and their daughters, everyone having knowledge and having understanding, they clave to their brethren, their nobles, and entered into a curse and into an oath to walk in God's law, which was given by Moses the servant, to observe and to do all the commandments of the Lord, our Lord." That's interesting. And his judgments and his statutes. So I don't know, man. That's a good question because, these priests were not supposed to marry the women of the land. They were supposed to separate themselves only to the people of Israel. And so what Phinehas did was, I guess, such a act of commitment that Yah, I don't know if he overlooked, or I wouldn't say he overlooked.
I'd have to stretch.
But when I read Hebrews chapter 8, 9, and 10, it talks about, this priesthood. I would definitely read those chapters. Awesome. Anyone else? Blessings. Well, guys, I guess we're gonna.
I want to get to the number. You sent the text about a number. I didn't get to read it all the way. I think I was driving.
Oh.
How many people?
Oh yeah.
What was that about now?
Let me look again. Let me go to my.
Sister Jackie had responded to.
Yeah, Sister Candy's there. So let me go here. So this is where I got this from. Numbers 26. Go to tools. Excuse me. Oh yeah, right here. So this chart right here gives you all the tribes. Totals are down here. So we can see before they go into the promised land, or the first census, before the second census, and after the second census. Okay, so remember, Levi wasn't counted, but we definitely see a drop in total numbers. But look at all the numbers that went up. Judah, their numbers increased. Issachar, their numbers increased. Zebulon, their numbers increased. Manasseh, their numbers increased. Benjamin, their numbers increased. Dan, they're increased. Asher, they're increased. Okay? So, but we still see a drop in overall numbers. Now, I didn't do these numbers. I don't, I'm trusting that whoever put these together, and then you can see the change here, minus 2,700 people, plus almost 2,000 people, plus almost 10,000. So you can see plus 20,000 for Manasseh. That's a lot. And so an interesting question would be, well, what accounts for the increase with the individual tribes and the total decrease of the overall tribes? From Numbers 1 through chapter 26.
What can you say? That was that a question? I'm sorry.
No, I was just, saying it would be interesting to find out based on the individual tribes that increased, could we biblically look at, something that these tribes were doing and say, oh, this is why, who had the most? Let's see. Manasseh, 20,000. They increased 20,000 people. What was that from? Was that from obedience? Was it, how can we account for the change?
They also are one of the lowest numbers initially that were counted in the census.
Mm-hmm.
They started to reproduce a lot.
But then they came up too, because they're 52. And so they're not low anymore. But then, as a result, overall, what can account for the overall drop in population?
Also, the people that weren't counted were all the original people that he said was not going to make it after the 40 years. We close to the end. This is like 39 years in. They're getting ready to put Joshua,
Mm-hmm.
in charge. And so it's a lot of people who were not counted as well. The people who died at Korah, the people who died in those plagues, the people who were not promised to go in, but only their children and their children's children will go in with those 40 years. So it's a lot of numbers not even mentioned here. And I don't know if this is men and women. I know we said 20, he said 20 years and older. So this is not even 19 and under.
Right, because it's only 600,000. So we know if you count the women and the children, it's going to be more. But also, Moses didn't even get a chance to make it.
Mm-hmm.
He did all of these great things, but he didn't sanctify Yah in front of the people, and he didn't make it in.
Mm-hmm.
Man. Let's see. Yeah, that's pretty interesting. Yeah, it's based on them abiding with him, their obedience. Yeah, whether they increased or decreased. All right, ladies and gentlemen, wonderful discussion as usual. Blessings. Remember, tomorrow night, come join us for dinner. 6:30. We'll be there eating. We look for you to come bring a friend and have them come and eat with us and share. Looking forward to breaking bread and fellowshipping with you. Come on out. Come on out. You know, everybody want to have something to do on Friday. And so, yeah, come on out and hang out and chill and relax. Don't worry about cooking in the hot kitchen. No, don't worry about spending money. Come to Rehoboth. If you don't want, you know, the pastor all cooking the food and all up on the praise team, come to Rehoboth. Come to Rehoboth. Tomorrow night, 6:30. And then we're going to be blessed by Brother Mark and his lesson. Look forward to hearing that tomorrow night as we enter into Shabbat. All right. So blessings, everyone. Shalom to you and your family too. And we look forward to seeing you tomorrow night, 6:30.